we've been in this market before, just called different things. It's called it's called interest only rate loans.
Mm-hmm.
It's called, there's all kinds of different. All you have to do in
Yeah.
this market, there's still people making a lot of money. And what we did was we kind of pivoted. Another thing with my agents is I went out and got my GC license, so we're doing
Mm-hmm.
ADUs now. I'm giving them more opportunities to make money, to create money. They get
Mm.
paid commission on those if they sell ADUs. They could be at an open house now, try to pick up buyer seller, but they have value add of adding the ADU because our sister company is a construction company and we build ADUs for our clients.
So, welcome back to Real Talk, the go-to podcast for insights and stories from the front lines of San Diego real estate. So today we're thrilled to welcome a guest whose journey in real estate literally reads like an inspiring playbook for success. Jeff Discher is not just a real estate expert. He's a testament to the transformative power of resilience, learning, and strategic thinking in this dynamic industry. Jeff, I had a really hard time putting a label on you. So here it is. Jeff is. He's a real estate broker. He's a developer. He's an investor. He's an author. He's dedicated to self-improvement. He's a lifelong learner who has just so much to offer us. Jeff, welcome to Real Talk, and thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that intro. It's actually hard for me sometimes to. I actually almost stopped making business cards because I didn't know what to put on there because I wear a few different hats. And kind of the good thing about it is they all kind of intertwine. You know what I mean? That's why I eventually got my GC license for the development side, of the real estate, and they all kind of work well together. And I'm obsessed with each one of them. I feel like sometimes like.
Mm.
And not to give myself too much credit, but like how Elon Musk has all these things going, and he kind of compartmentalizes them. That's why I'm like, okay, I got my construction stuff over here, I got my real estate stuff over here, and I got, my investment stuff over here. So it keeps me busy, man. I'm like all over the place, and I need to keep busy or I get bored, complacent.
Well, the way I think about it is like you must have this vision of a statue of who it is that you want to become. And you ever hear about Schwarzenegger talk about how he decided what muscle he was going to work out?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I look at myself in the mirror and then I add a piece of clay.
Yep.
And I thought about that analogy when I started learning about your businesses and your approach to entrepreneurship, your approach to development. It seems like all of these things you get somewhere and you're like, all right, time to add a piece of clay here. Now let's
That's what
try
it
this.
is.
Now let's try it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Like
cool.
it's it's kind of like it's just a visionary, That's the way I look at it, and it's funny because you're describing that, and people have told me before. That's who's told me you're a good visionary, Jeff, because you'll just look at something and just. I've done it to my office. I've done it to a bunch of stuff. So, and that's what I do. It's manifestation, man.
Mm,
And a lot of my books I read, a lot of my beliefs kind of center around manifestation, just believing stuff, envisioning it, writing it down, creating emotion
mm,
around it, and really making it come to life. And I really believe in it. I've taken myself from, a poor trailer park kid up into where I'm at now. And it's all, I've seen it all. And the crazy thing is once you get good at it, you can see everything. That's why I tell people I was able to write a book. I've learned piano and played in front of 100 people. I've done all these things. Like this year coming up, I'm going to learn Spanish. I'm going to take golf lessons. I'm going to take chess. I'll already have these things I'm going to do, and I can already see myself doing it. Like when I do the piano, I would see myself already playing in front of people and them clapping. And so I just use that and I apply it to anything I want to do, whether it's build out my cool office, build my team up, write the book, build crazy modern houses. I just apply the same techniques to everything I want to do. It just starts with the
You,
idea, and then I start Googling it, and I start taking notes, and then I start saving photos, and I create a folder, and then that's how I
mm.
manifest it. I just keep going back to that space and looking at what I'm doing, looking at my notes, and writing more notes, connecting the dots, going down the rabbit hole deeper, and before you know it, everything that I thought I wanted to do or be is there. That's
Let
all.
me. Hey guys, it's your break with San Diego Steve. If you're getting value from this real estate talk, please smash that like button, drop a comment below with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the smartest real estate moves in San Diego. Act now, and let's build your real estate empire together. Ask, were you always that way?
It's funny looking back in retrospect. I was. It was funny because what would happen is I look back to certain things like, and I know that I manifested them because and I didn't know what I was doing then, but I would just picture myself, and I still do it today, but I'm in more control of it today. Back then, I would
Mm.
just do it because I was a kid with an imagination, and I remember really doing it. Like, I want to play baseball. I want to play baseball. How do I do it? And it's what we all do. We just don't know we're doing it. Like, hey, I saw baseball. I want to play baseball. That looks cool. Mom, sign me up for baseball. That's all manifestation. I'm like, Mom, sign me up. I just take action on the thought. Okay, honey, signs me up. Before you know it, I'm playing baseball. And I just growing up, looking back, riding the bike, everything that I tried, I would get good at. My mom would always say that. Honey, everything you try, you get really good at. And then you just give up and quit and move on to the next thing. And then I look back, I'm like, because I would always do that. I would find the best of whatever it was, skateboarding, BMX biking, moto, and I'd be like, I want to be like that. I would watch it and I would just go copy it and just keep going down the rabbit hole, become obsessed and learn everything I could about it. And I would get to a certain degree where I wouldn't be necessarily the best, but I'd be very good where I was satisfied and I was like noticeable. And then I was moving on to something else all the time. So
Mm.
I've been doing it since I was a kid. I just didn't realize what I was doing.
And that's a great segue because I wanted to touch on that. It seems like there was a pivot point, maybe a decade ago or something in you that you're someone that has developed an incredible mindset. And there are elements that you've had that of your personality, like you said, you envision something, you take an action, and you move towards it. But
Mm-hmm.
it seems like somewhere along the pathway, you organized all of that into, okay, this is how I deliberately live my life in this way of constant progression. Instead
Mm-hmm.
of bicycle spokes, you're on a path.
Mm-hmm. I think I
And
was a
when,
little more
yeah.
intentional. Yeah. When I turned 40, I became a lot more intentional about it. I've always kind of done it, but it was never a system. It was never, it was intentional, but I was dabbling more. I wasn't a professional. I was kind of dabbling, meaning that I would read books. I'd read books since I was 22. That's what changed my whole career. If we went back to like what I really changed was 21, 22 is the first book I read. But um, I've, I've, I've always done it, but when I turned 40, I remember seeing something, and we just started the team a couple years in, and again, I was already probably doing more than most, already kind of in that doing it, but not as in control and intentional. When I hit 40, I changed everything. I started getting up at 3:30 in the morning. I started writing my goals every single day. Before I'd write them once a month, maybe once every couple
Hmm.
months. And it's funny because I have them from like 15 years ago, and they're ridiculous. That's how important writing your goals are. Is I have ones from like 15 years ago that were like, oh, you're going to make 100,000, 150,000 this year, and that was like a lot of money to me, like crazy money. And all these goals I had when I opened up those old goals, they're all freaking. I've crushed all of them, but at the time writing them, they seemed impossible. So, if I, again, I go on a lot of rant and like down side paths, so just to bring me back sometimes. Anyways, a year ago, I started doing everything perfectly. I said I'm going to set up the perfect morning routine. I'm going to get up at 3:30 in the morning. I always said I was a morning person. I said I'm going extreme. I'm going to find out whoever the earliest is. I'm getting up that early, and then I started realizing going down that rabbit hole of what time should I get up. The average millionaire and billionaire wake up at like 4 a.m., 4:30.
Hmm.
Most of them definitely under 6 a.m. And I was like, oh, and then I just did a presentation on this, a seminar on this, and I looked at the top, like, if you look at like the top 20 richest people, and you can actually Google their schedules, it's almost identical if you look at them, give or take age. So, like, Warren Buffett doesn't work out really anymore, but like, if you look at all, they all get around within the same hour or two, they all drink water, they all somewhat exercise, they all read a book, they all go over their goals or what they're going to do for the day, what their accomplishments. They all kind of had the same thing in different orders, give or take. And so I was like, okay, dude. And so then I started, I read a lot of Anthony Robbins and listen to a lot of Tony Robbins, whatever. And he talks about modeling. And I'm like, dude, modeling is just basically looking at what they're doing and doing it. And they're giving me the blueprint right now of what these people are doing. And they're all doing the same thing in different orders and calling it different things, whether it's meditation or a study, whatever they were doing. And so I just did it. I again manifestation. I said on waking up tomorrow was my 40th birthday. Remember we were out in a boat. We were on a ship, or a boat out in the bay. And I remember I said, I'm starting. I'm going to start on the 1st of January, and I did. And I've never. And it's been like that since I got up. And I changed everything internally first. I just did it for myself. Plus, I knew I wanted to set the correct example for my team. So that's what another thing I did when we decided we're going to grow the team. I had to become that person, that leader that people had to see, because I was telling everyone what to do. We're not telling them, but encouraging them to do all these things. I'm telling them to do to become the best version of themselves. And if I wasn't doing all of them perfect, I felt like a cheat. So I started doing everything perfect. Until this day, I'm still, no one's beating me. Like, I will stick to my schedule and do everything I say I'm going to do. And I'm telling you, I tell everyone, I don't explain it to anybody, but if you do it, you can change everything you are. You can be anyone you want. You can learn anything you want. And it's like funny, they're asking Will Smith and a lot of different people, Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber, Jamie Foxx, and they all, and people that pinnacle in multiple different practices, right? Or fields, acting, comedic, whatever it may be, instruments, they're good at everything. And
Mm.
and they truly believe they can do everything. That Will Smith said, if I wanted to, I could be the president. I mean, look at, like you said, you brought up Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like,
Yeah.
before he did anything, there's people that I forget who it was. It was a I forget who it was. There's a famous guy that he knew him before he did anything. He just got here from Austria, and he said, "I'm going to win the Mr. Olympia. I'm going to become the biggest actor. I'm going to become the governor of California." He like named it all, and just went to town and did it all. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but they all do that. They all have the same thought process. And I was like, and Will Smith said, "I'll become president." And I'm like, and now I know what they're saying. I'm not saying I can be president. What I'm saying though is like, and you got to be careful with that, because anything you say, it's like, God, I don't want to be broke. You might be broke. But when I start sitting there saying that, it's so powerful and I'm so good at manifesting that, like, I got to be careful what I say, because that shit might, sometimes I'll be like, damn, I wish I had start over so I could just make these changes. And then I got to stop myself, because if
Right.
I put that out there and believe it too much and really think that I do and think about it too much, I might start self-sabotaging myself. So
Mm.
I'm telling you, I've seen, and now I believe. I'm like, that's why I'm like, I'm going to pick up Spanish. I'm gonna get really good at chess, because I know that's one of the things the top intellectuals do, and I'm gonna pick up golf. I've been getting fairly better at golf. I've been playing in my head a lot. I've been watching all the Tiger Woods videos, and even after watching videos and picturing myself in there playing with Tiger and listening to everything he's saying, looking at the way he does it, the way he walked, my golf gets better. And so now I'm at the point where I played a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I can feel it getting better. Like, all my hits are hitting. I played with one ball. I'm like, now I'm gonna go get lessons. And so I have 3 new disciplines I'm gonna pick up. But it's so cool. I picked up piano 6 years ago, and now I'm playing like freaking. It's crazy. And my chick will be like, "Hey, play the song," and within a week I'll have the song playing. Um, so it's fun, man. I just know everything I want to do, I'm gonna do, and I just use the same techniques. I mean, the real estate we're building, like I said, you said, I'm a developer. Went and got my general contractor license. Um, Anyways, I'll let you back to your question, but that's what I do for everything. Sorry, bro. I do.
No, absolutely. I love this. I love this. This is and the only thing I want to do is ground it for the audience, right? So for me, the guys that I'm speaking to are guys like me. So I'm, still active duty. I'm an investor agent, right? And I'm on this path because I realize my priorities in life are different, and I realize that I'm not alone in that. So I, want to document this journey, and to ground, everything that you're here, right? Like, you've been doing this for a while, manifesting, thinking, acting, right? One of the things that I want to touch on today is you're one of the OGs in the business, in the fact that you've seen a pendulum swing while being a professional in real estate. Not everyone has.
Mm-hmm.
But you're here, so you have the experience, right? You have years of implementation, you have the time.
Mm-hmm.
The first impression you had on me, Jeff, when I reached out to you to be on the show, you replied to me at 3:30 in the morning.
Ugh.
And when I woke up that day and I saw I had the message at 3:30 in the morning, I went to Donnie and I was like, dude, what is this? And he's like, Jeff's different, man. So I was like, you know what? I need to dive in. So I read your book. And so for the past 2 weeks, I've been implementing. And so I'm at this nascent step of something that you figured out. You talk about modeling. I'm doing my own version.
Mm-hmm.
I have my alarm. Right now I still need the alarm, right? My body doesn't just get me up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting up at 4 in the morning. I'm having a routine. The accountability thing, I don't know if we follow each other yet, but I'm, on Instagram at 4 in the morning, me sitting down and doing my first thing of the day. I'm taking a photo of my first workout of the day before I go off, to go do my Navy thing and come back and get to the grind. And I want to say, guys, being in the military, we think we're early risers. We think we're go-getters. And I got there, after, 6 years at sea or whatever, where I was just, dragging my ass to everywhere I needed to be and just doing it because I had to. And the key that I've noticed in myself unlock in the last couple of weeks has been purpose, right?
Mhm.
Being intentional about my day. I think you said in the book, you control your day, you don't let your day control you.
Mhm.
By implementing these things, and it makes a world of difference. You can have, whatever going on in that day, but as long as I have that morning to orient myself, to do what I need to do to take care of myself, then the entire day is totally different than what it would have been. And my wife actually challenged me on this, because I was like, oh, I'm going to be a better partner by doing this, blah 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 blah. And she asked the poignant question, which was, are you doing this for yourself, or are you doing this because of something else outside? And I'm like, I had to sit down for a second and realize, no, this is for me. This is me doing this for myself. So, speaking from the beginning of the journey, guys, like it's insane what a small amount of purposeful implementation can do for you.
And
So,
that just to touch on that briefly, that's what the purpose, you have to have a purpose, and they call it a why or a reason, is because it's
mhm,
hard. And if you don't have a reason to get up, you don't have a schedule, you're just going to get up at 4 in the morning, whatever time it is, and be like, okay, this sucks. It's stupid. It's dark out. Nobody to talk to. I can't text anybody. I can't. So if you don't have that plan in place and you're ready to attack it with the purpose of why you're doing all this, for you, it might be for your family, for your wife. You guys want to have kids. You want to put your kids through college. You want to get a bigger home, whatever it may be. That's the big, right? The North Star, big purpose. But you have to have what I mean too in purpose. When you get up in the morning, you have to be intentional with that morning on what you're going to
mm,
do. And you need to understand that those 2 or 3 hours are for you and you only, because you shouldn't have any distractions. The key to doing that is not just to get up and think you're cool because you're getting up early. It's to be intentional and work on yourself, because we all know that, I believe I mentioned it in my book, is that if not, first of all, we wake up to an alarm. When you wake up to an alarm, you're instantly releasing cortisol because you're scared. Oh shit,
mm,
you're scared, cortisol, boom. Fight or flight. I got to get up now. This sucks. I hate this day, blah, 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 right? Now you're already responding, you're already reacting to the alarm clock. First thing we do is grab our phone and start reacting to emails. Hey, honey, are you up yet? Yeah, I'm getting up. Hold on, make the coffee. There's no time for you anymore. And what happens is in the
mm,
morning, your brain's the freshest. It's like pulling your phone off the charger. It just got done recharging, getting ready to rock, getting ready to learn, getting ready to apply, getting ready to execute. And so when you get up, you need to, and first of all, your willpower is highest in the morning. So you got to do those hard things: the gym, the reading, the goals. Because when you get home, we all know, once you get home and that willpower has weakened, and you've already made bunch of decisions, and you've had some probably carbs, and you're drained, and you're tired, and your legs hurt, and you've been doing shit all day. You don't want to do any of those things. Then when you get home, you want to be with family, friends, whatever
mm,
it may be. And so a lot of times we don't have the time or the bandwidth to do these things. And that's why I tell people, I'm not telling people to get up early to be cool and just so you could brag on social media. If you do it, you do it because you want to become a better version of yourself. You can't find time to do it. You want to make more
mm.
money. You want to be in better shape. You want to be better with finances. You want to look over your investments and be better at controlling your investments. These are reasons that you get up early to implement those, because what happens is you'll be up at 3:34 in the morning, and finally when you look at that first notification comes through, or the kid jumps up, the wife calls you, it's 6:37. You've been doing this for 2 3 hours by yourself.
Hmm.
What's 2 or 3 hours? We'll just be conservative. 2 hours a day, every day. I do it every day. 30 hours is 60 hours a month, which is a little over 3 days extra that you're working on yourself. 3 full days, you're getting more than the average person. Imagine locking yourself every 30 days, you locked yourself in a room for 3 days, and all you did was read and write your goals and manifest for 3 days straight every 30 days. Because that's what you're doing if you do it every morning. And most people won't do that. You know what I mean? You have
Yeah.
somebody, the last book they read, read I have kids, Jeff, you understand. Oh, okay. What time do you get up? 6:30 when my little daughter jumps on the bed. Okay, then why don't you get up at 4:30? That'll give you 2 hours before your
Hmm.
daughter jumps in the bed.
And
So
that's
just be
the
intentional with it.
whole thing too, that I realized unintentionally, which again you now know, was that my afternoons I'm present. Instead of my mind
Mm-hmm.
being somewhere where it's like, oh, I wish I was doing, not that I wish I was doing something else, but man, I have this thing in the back of my head that I'm supposed to be getting to that I'm
Yep.
not, and that's going
Yep.
to build up. And instead, that's gone. I'm there. I need to work
And
on a
if
house
it does
project.
hit you
Yeah.
in the morning, if that feeling hits you in the morning, you can address it. That's the cool thing
Mm-hmm.
too, though, is that if whatever hits me in the morning, I know there's no distraction, so I can address any. That's why I get most of my stuff done during that hour, like all my marketing, my editing. I'll put together a contract, design, communicate. That's why at 3:30 you got that text back. I do a lot of my important communication when I'm thinking, and all that happens. Most of my shit happens before 6:30 in the morning. All my big decisions, a
Mm.
lot of them, you know what I mean? And like you said, at the end of the day, you're more kind of you're not thinking about all that stuff. You're thinking you're present with your family, whoever you're with, and that's kind of how you end the day. They say, "Oh, go
Mm-hmm.
home and read." I do all that. By the time I get home, it's not the same. Even my workouts when I used to work out after work, before work, are way better in the morning. I wake up
Mm.
fasted. I got in much better shape. I got more energy. I don't know. I just and some people say morning. I'm not a morning person. It's like then you got to make yourself. I wasn't a morning person. I told myself I wasn't a morning person for
Mm.
30, 40 years. You know what I mean? And we all get that. I think from high school. And junior high,
Mm-hmm.
of waking up early. We don't want to go to school, so it's like, "Oh, I can early go to school. And the minute we graduate, we just want to sleep in all summer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to roll that into like the military. That's why I like hiring military agents because, and this goes to your listeners, you guys come out of the military with a great structure already. You're getting up early, you're
Mm-hmm.
working long hours, you have a set structure for the most part, you're checking shit. I tell these guys, I got some agents on my team. I mean, I trained Donnie. Donnie was my team at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Keep hitting me going. Ben Biggs. I got a lot of people that came right to the military. I tell them, you get out of the military and you wait too long to start do a career like this, you kind of get burned because you get back to that sleep in. I want to do my own thing. I want to go to happy hours,
Mm-hmm.
which is all good and all, but you got to choose that. If I can get someone right out of the military and they're used to getting up at 5:45, 5:30, and I could just pluck them into real estate and then switch the habits out, as opposed to doing the military stuff, they're doing the self-improvement stuff, and then they come to office
Mm-hmm.
and they're just punching a list again and they put the same amount of hours in. I'm like, you guys, I'm going to give you exactly what to do the blueprint. You used to be in the military where you guys are working per what you guys say 12, 14-hour days, like of crazy conditions on a ship in a room the size of a freaking bathroom with red lights only and ear-piercing sounds all day. Or you could come over
Mm-hmm.
here and do these, just switch these things out. And I feel like with the military, it's such a good it's such a good way to set your habits and your disciplines in place. They force you to do it at an early age when you're still like moldable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm like at the point where I think like I don't want to say mandatory, but like most kids, unless they really have it figured out, they should go to the military between 18 and 22. They should get out of the way, graduate high school, go right to the military, because it will teach them all the shit that they need, like as far as structure, discipline, and habits, and execution, and being coachable and listening. Because I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that come in and I say do this, okay, it's almost like they're on the ship. And they just go to work and they do the stuff without even asking, and then without even complaining, and they become successful. It's
And
crazy.
and tying it in from our end, what brings us to a business like real estate. Um, those I think those at least the Navy term, those that do really well, we're fire and forget missiles, right? It's like you go to someone, you go up to your superior, your immediate supervisor or whatever, and you receive tasking. They know that this guy, he's on the top of his group because he's fine. I give him the idea, and he will take that into impact,
Hmm.
execution, the whole 9 yards. And I think that kind of personality is also gravitated towards entrepreneurship, to real estate. Because they'll pick up along the way is like, hey, there's more to life than just this grind. I don't mind the grind. I can do the grind, but there's more to life. And, one book will lead to another book, will lead to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, will lead
Hmm.
to, how do I get into the game? So I love that you made that connection, because I think that's immediately relatable to whomever watch or listen to this. So I
Well, yeah,
appreciate
and
that.
those guys, and I think like the guys I know, Ben Biggs and stuff, when they were on the ship, they said for 6 months at a time they could just order their books, and they said that whenever they
Mm-hmm.
were off, they had nothing else to do. They would listen to podcasts and books, bigger pockets, and they would just sit there and absorb. And that's why they get to me. Donnie was the same way. He showed up with just so much knowledge already. You know what I mean? But we just needed to
Mm-hmm.
apply it and kind of focus it, put some systems in place, and get him going. But he took off. Same with Ben. It was just bringing him in and they had the knowledge because he's like, bro, I've been listening to Bigger Pockets for 5 years. I read all the real estate books, all the books he posts, I buy him. So he was already primed, ready. You know what I mean? So I think that you're right, and I
Mm.
think they have that entrepreneurial, aggressive execution style. And the cool thing is that if they learn if they have the right people to help them channel it, and
Hmm.
put, because they'll get out all hyped up, but if they don't get the right opportunity and they just go to one of these little jobs where they're basically doing the same thing, a dead end job. I'm not saying dead end, but they're making 70,000 a year. They can max out at 90 in 20 years, and it's like, dude, you can actually channel that if you have the right man. And that's why we do, like, we work with people at Scalebridge. We have a couple people that came through Scalebridge at our office that we just kind of help, because that's the way it works. They get involved in it, they start seeing it, and they have a mentorship, and they can actually jump in and do it. And I feel like it's like that for every profession, whether they're going to be a financial advisor, anything in the sales or the finance or real estate. The best thing is doing that, is just applying them right into that. We have a girl right now, Mel, on our team. She's not getting out till 2026, and she's
Mm.
on our team. So she gets off, comes, does real estate, goes back, doesn't work weekends, so does open houses, and I love it. I said, dude, this is the best thing you can do. You're going to transition smoothly of 3 years or 2 years or whatever, to smoothly transition. By the time you hit 20, I said, to be fair, if you actually start cracking at this and really get down, you're probably not. I mean, you have to serve your 26, but you could be making way more than like all the superiors on your second, third. Like by the time you get out, you'll just be doing very well. But it's a perfect transition for her at this point where she can do both, because real estate's hard. They say you need to have 6 to 9 months of your bills in the bank to get into this business. It's very hard, especially in
Mm.
today's market. It's crazy. And I'm talking about the sales, buying and selling
Hmm.
real estate agent, not investor or anything. Um, but and so the cool thing is about her.
No worries.
You there? You there? Sorry, bro.
Yep.
I don't know how to. Yep. I should put on. What do I put on? Never mind. Sorry, I should have put on airplane mode.
It's all right. We
Are you
can
there?
edit.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
bro.
Can you hear
My
me?
bad. Yeah, I just can't see you.
Okay. Let me turn my camera on and off again. How about now?
No, it's just black.
Oh, that's weird. Well, I see you and we have the local files. If you're all right, we could keep going.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. You were telling me about Mel,
So yeah,
before
so she
the,
okay.
yeah,
So
the
her
interruption.
example is
Yeah.
she's in and out. So I said, hey, come here. So she's already on board. She's onboarding right now, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
perfect because I even told her, dude, it's perfect because it takes most people 6 months to a year. We try to do it in 3 months to
Mm-hmm.
get going, but it's perfect. I want this because what I've noticed is when I get agents that are already out, or that maybe don't have the money saved, they stress out. There you are. You're back.
Mm-hmm.
They stress. You know what I mean? They have commission breath. They need the money. But I've noticed when people, but it's a double edged sword though, because I've also learned that people that have another job or source of income, a lot of times they don't go all in because they haven't burned the bridges. They know they
Mm-hmm.
have that. So when it comes time to do the hard things, the open houses on a Sunday when everyone's watching football, the calls, the videos, they're like, it's a crutch because they know that even if I don't make those calls, I got this job that'll pay my bills. So I'll just
Mm-hmm.
wait until I'm full time. So I've seen that where they don't fully commit. So there's kind of
Yeah.
some good and bad to both. Quitting and just jumping full in, it's like sink or swim versus slowly transitioning in. But in this market, to be honest, it's a rough market right now. It's a slow market, so I'm encouraging people to keep their jobs or some other source of income.
Well, Jeff, you're the king of segues today, man. I wanted to say, so I am where you say your 2 year olds are, right? Like I got into the business of sales in 2021. This is my first market shift, right? My
Hmm.
first swing of the pendulum, that I'm navigating. And we'll talk about agents first, and then I think we can talk about, what's going on in San Diego for buyers, sellers, the kind of stuff you're doing. What are you telling your agents that joined between 2011 and now that have never seen this kind of thing before?
I mean, none of them have. All my agents are new. One thing about my team is, besides Ben Biggs, he's been like 7 years. They've never seen a shift, and they're all so young. They never really lived through it. Their parents did, right? I've been doing this 20
Mm-hmm.
years, so I was able to go through the shift. And I'm 45. My agents are between 24 and 35. 42. I take that back. I have one guy that's 42, but he was in the Navy at the time. He didn't know wasn't in the market. He didn't really understand it. He wasn't in it. But none of them are. So for them, I've been prepping them for the last 18 months, though. I wasn't saying the
Mm-hmm.
sky's falling. I was prepping them more or less for the mindset of it and the transition because I knew something was going to come. Real estate is a very cyclical game. If you look back, as far as you can look back, there's always a cycle every 8 to 12 years of some sort, whether it's interest rates, whether it's a market crash, whether it's unemployment, whether it's war. Something causes something to happen. It was supposed to be the pandemic. That didn't really slow everything down. That made everything explode. Then they tried to raise the interest rates, which they've done, the fastest in history it's ever been done. And that didn't really do anything. It just, it did kept pushing the market. Yeah, we've seen the inventory honestly over the last year almost double, but that's still way below where we should be. We have less than 3,000 homes in the market right now. Total
Mm-hmm.
properties, attached, detached, townhome, twin home, and row home. So it's crazy. What I'm telling them is, first of all, you need to establish a brand right now. Most people are retracting from establishing brand and marketing and connecting because they're scared because they haven't sold a house. They don't tell their clients. Their clients are like, what do I do? Do I buy? Do I buy? They're scared. What do I tell them? So my thing is, listen, guys, first of all, you got to learn. We're educating. Our meetings are insane. I'm constantly going through this stuff with them. I said, what you need to do now is you're going to be doing twice the work for half the pay right now. So yeah, you might be doing, instead of doing 12 deals a year, you might be doing 3 or 4 deals a year. So you need to cut back everything. think I don't want you to think from lack. I want you to think from abundance, but I need you to cut back everything you can for now. And I need you to go all in on your brand, video, stuff that's free that you can do. What's free? It means you can jump on the phone and start calling people. It means that you can work on your marketing. You have apps that you've already paid for, they're free. Go to town, make good content. Become the authority in real estate to your database. Build that database. We're hitting networking events. I said you have reaping and you have sowing. Okay, when you sow is what we're doing now. When you reap is when all your plants have grown and they're reaping corn, right? So right now I said there's reaping, there's sowing. You guys, we've been reaping for the last 5-10 years. Like me and like I and Ben's been reaping. My buddy, my agent, I've been telling him about this. I'm like, you've been reaping. He got into business in 2016, so it was good. And I said, we've been reaping. Now it's time to sow. And I said, the crazy thing is, back in '08 when this happened, I lost my ass. I lost everything because I wasn't ready.
Mm.
And I've been trying to prep them, and they're going through it. It's rough. But I said, you have to stockpile. You got to scroll up, and you got to just get through the winter. And I said, but you got to work on yourself. Constantly grow. Don't mess up. Don't spend money on dumb shit. Constantly self development. Read as many books as possible. Study the market. Have this, build your relationship, build your database. Right now, we're hitting database hard. We're hitting every networking event, not every, but at least 2 to 3 a week. Just
Mm.
we're not giving out cards. We're collecting business cards. We're building our database. We're building relationships. We're
Mm.
working on giving value to people. And I told them that's what we're doing. Everyone's in there now. Anyone that's smart, whether if you're real estate, anything, you give value. You listen to what people are scared of and what their fears are in today's market. You listen to the headlines and you go on social media, Facebook groups, and you see what people are scared about, what people are complaining about, and that's what you address. You create value based on upon people's needs and fears, and you answer their questions. And you make them feel all warm and fuzzy about it, and they will work with you. And how do you do that? You just educate them. We've been in this market before. It's just called different things. It's called zero. It's called interest only rate loans.
Mm-hmm.
It's called. There's all kinds of different. All you have to do in
Yeah.
this market, there's still people making a lot of money. And what we did was we kind of pivoted. Another thing with my agents is I went out and got my GC license. So we're doing
Mm-hmm.
ADUs now. I'm giving them more opportunities to make money, to create money. They get
Mm.
paid commission on those, what they sell ADUs. They could be at an open house now, try to pick up buyer seller, but they have value add of adding the ADU because our sister company is a construction company and we build ADUs for our clients. And so
Mm.
I'm training them in that because it's the biggest buzz thing right now is adding ADUs for investment
Yeah.
space. Anyone that's in the
Yeah.
market, unless you've been on a rock for the last year, 18 months, ADUs is the hottest thing going, especially in San Diego, especially in
Yep.
California, and then especially in San Diego. People are coming from all
Mm-hmm.
over to try to do this right now because you can make a lot of money. And there's a lot of different
Mm-hmm.
laws that are being implemented right now that are starting next year that are going to really make it even better. So what I'm doing with my agents is I'm putting them up on game. I'm staying ahead of the game. And what I didn't do in the past, a mistake I didn't make, is I didn't learn about short sales and foreclosures right away. I tucked my head. I
Mm-hmm.
go, oh my God, the sky's falling. It's not the way it used to be. And I depended on my current skill, my skill set to get me through it. And I wouldn't change. I took off about a year and a half, came back, and I said, dude, I got to adjust and increase my skill set. So I got certified and designated in short sales, foreclosures, learned the market, and then did a bunch of those. So, but I learned too late. I could have done so much better if I would just pivoted right away and drilled down in what was happening and embraced it and then took off. I knew people that did, and I missed the boat. So that's what I'm telling them. I'm like, look, ADUs is our transition point right now. Use those. It's going to show that you're knowledgeable. It's going to show that you're ahead of the curve. You're going to pick up deals. You're going to make money, and you're going to look like a rock star, and you're going to learn. So all those things above. You build your brand right now. You market your damn ass off. You get in front of as many people as you can through networking, open houses, and one-to-ones. And you also send note cards. Go back to snail mail. Just stay in front of your people, because I'm telling you this right now. They may not need you now, and you might say all your friends are telling you they're not buying now, they're not selling now. But one day they're going to wake up when this market turns or when something starts happening, and they're going to be like, oh, my babe, maybe we should buy a house. Okay, who do you call? Oh, that person. He's been on social media all the time. We get his email, his texts, his things. Let's call him. So you want to be at the forefront of people's minds. But people right now, and this is normal, in these type of markets, people retract and they're scared. They cut
Mm-hmm.
back their marketing. They don't want to be out in front of people. They don't want to get asked questions. They don't want people to ask what their career is. Oh
Yeah.
my God, you selling how's the market? Because they don't know what the market is. They're just used to oh, you want to buy a property, get approved, here you go. But to really know the market, you got to dive down, and you have to have the right coaching, and you have to have the right information, and you got to be obsessed with it. And so that's what you need to do. It's not weekend warrior shit right now. Even my part timers, I'm like, dude, it's gonna be hard for you. Even harder. It's gonna be hard for you than the other people. But you need to learn and use those jobs to create networks and pass your cards out. Add them to your database. Just get their name. Get home. Add them on Instagram. Add them on Facebook. Send them a video. So just establish relationships, man. Build your brand right now strong.
Absolutely. It's I'm reading a ton. Like when I tell you I implemented, Jeff, I dove in, right? So the last week has been like 3 or 4 books. And that reminds me a lot of both Gary V, jab, 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 right hook.
Yep.
And then Hormozy added on to that. The biggest thing that it sounds like you're telling your agents, first brand, of course, but give,
Yes.
give,
Yep.
and then maybe ask.
Yep.
And the second thing I wanted to show you before we got to the next stop, dude, literally because of you, I got these. So absolutely, and it cost me next to nothing, right? And it's never an ask. It's a part of my morning ritual now. Is like gratitude. Like, hey man, I wanted to say thanks for this.
Yep.
And I found it is such a grounding exercise. So agents, Jeff just dropped some gold in that, brand first, give like you have everything in the world to give, and then take simple actions. The last thing was the OODA loop. When you were saying about the last skill set or the last market shift, you had to operate on your existing skill set, and it sounds like what you're training your agents to do is in the military we call it the OODA loop, right? You observe the situation. This is for high stress decision making. You observe the situation, you orient yourself in that situation, then you decide and you act, and then you repeat.
Yes.
Right. And you're building a toolbox for your agents by taking advantage of the SB 9, SB 10, all the legislation that's going on in San Diego County that is opening up this home and solving a real problem at the same time, right? At least in the short term, in a severe lack of housing that we have here. So that's great. All right, Jeff. Well, thanks so much for your wisdom, everything that you shared today. It's absolutely invaluable, whether you're in real estate or not. I think the lessons that you shared in the parts of your story, how you derived your principles, is something that's applicable everywhere in life. So I really appreciate that, Jeff. Thanks so much. See you next time.